Here's a story I heard long time ago from a fellow that now he has a Chabad house somewhere in Israel. But he didn't always have a Chabad. He's just an Israeli, and he was a stuntman in California. Totally not religious. Totally nothing to do with religion. No, nothing to do with Judaism. Not so. He was a person, and he was a stuntman in California. You can imagine it's pretty wild life over there. And he needed a big breakthrough, in this. So nevertheless, he was a stuntman one time, but he loved to ride his motorcycle. He used to ride a motorcycle, and when his time was his off days, so he would drive, tremendous speeds, 120 miles an hour, tremendous speeds. Loved it, especially in California. There's all these open roads where you can drive, in the desert and things like that. So he would be going, just driving. One time he was driving his motorcycle, and something happened. A truck pulled out, and he didn't see the truck, and he smashed into the truck, and he flew, like 100 feet, 200 feet, and the police came, and he heard the police saying, where's the rider? Where's the rider? And when they saw him far away, they called the ambulance. Ambulances come, and he heard the people in the ambulance say, "He's finished. He's not going to be alive. There's no way he's going to even make it to the hospital." And he said to himself, he said, now he's from Israel, right? So he knows that he's a Jew, and he knows that there's people that believe in God, and he knows that he's helpless. He's totally helpless now. Nothing's going to help him. In another second, he's going to die. So he said he made an oath that, God, if you save me, and that if I come out alive, I promise you that I'm going to become a religious Jew. He said, well, God did a miracle for him, and he got better. He got better amazingly. Not only did he get better, but he got better to the point where he could return to be a stuntman. He returned to be a stuntman again, and his bones healed. I don't know if it took a year or 2 years, whatever, but he forgot totally about his vow. Totally forgot his vow. Nothing whatsoever. Right? The doctors, sometimes it happens, people get better, and that's it, so got better. So he forgot, no vow, no nothing. So it happened then later on. I don't really remember if this is how we remember him saying it, but others told me that that's not the story. In any case, he did something else. He was riding on his motorcycle, or he was doing stunts, whatever, and he fell again. This time he broke his neck. And again, he was unconscious. And again, they said he was going he wasn't going to live. And his last moments before he lost consciousness, a terrible pain, he said the same vow. God, if you save me, I promise I'm going to go back to Judaism. I will do this. And it happened again. Another miracle happened. And sure enough, he got better. He got better. The breakage wasn't as bad as they thought, or it was as bad as they thought, and there was a miracle. It cured, it healed, whatever. Anyway, and he went, we did exercise until he finally went back to being a stuntman again. With all those breakages and all this, how could it happen? It happened. So one day comes up to him, the whole manager, a big manager of stuntmen. And he said, I can get you in. I can get you into the big money, big jobs. I like what you do. And, I guess his face was similar to some of the big stars in that time. So he gets work with this guy, amazing miracles, right? He gets healed twice from terrible, catastrophic accidents. And he's healthy, and he's even going back to being a stuntman again. I guess he was really good at it. But this man who was the manager, who was the big boss, he was also a missionary. And he was very enthusiastic about his religion, about the church, and he felt it his spiritual duty to draw as many people into the church as possible, which that he felt would save him and it would save others, whatever they had, the thing. But he was good at it. The guy was good at it. So we started asking him all sorts of questions. Here we have a Jew. Getting a Jew, that's like a big fish, you catch a big. And so he starts telling him things about, doesn't it say in the Bible like this, and doesn't say over here, and it says in Isaiah like this and this. Now, this fellow, the stunt man, he could care less about this whole business. He just wanted to be a stunt man and live wild. How do you say, live on the wild side, like it says, in California. But this fellow starts to tell him about that you should worship this person, and it says about him like this, and it says about him like this, and he suffered in this. And so he doesn't really care anything about religion at all, and he didn't really want to get interested in any type of religion. But somehow or other, he felt that this fellow wasn't just interested that he should be religious. He was interested that he should not be Jewish. He should not be Jewish. The Jews don't know how to interpret the Torah properly, and that we do know how to interpret. So he was thinking, like, I don't want to interpret the Torah at all. I want this guy to leave me alone. But on the other hand, he's so interested, it seems, that I should not be a Jew. That's like a real big thing about him. He shouldn't be a Jew. So he had all these questions and he didn't know how to answer them. But doesn't it say over here like this? Doesn't it say over there? And so he was walking down the street one day and he passed by a Chabad house. And so we went in and he said, hello. The fellow said, hello. They talked. And he told him that he was Jewish. So would you like to put on tefillin? He says, not really. I don't want to put on tefillin. I don't want to, but I have these questions that this person asks me about Judaism. And so what are the questions? So he gave him the questions and the person showed him the answers. It says that you just have to look in the commentaries of the Torah. And it says very clearly what the answer is. These people ignore the commentaries. And maybe he did put on tefillin a couple. Anyway, so we went back to this missionary guy, and the missionary guy has more questions for him. He's ready for these answers. So he has more questions. So he goes to the Chabad house, and finally the person in the Chabad house says, I don't understand. What are you so interested in this for? He said, because there's this missionary and this, and I want to know how to answer him. And so either they wrote a letter to the Rebbe. I think that they wrote a letter to the Rebbe. I'm not sure. But in any case, the answer that they got is just forget about it. Don't get into any arguments about it because it's a not-ending thing. You have to just sink yourself into learning Torah. Learn Torah and do the commandments. And that's what he did. He said, I'm not going to get involved in this answering questions anymore. And the more Torah that he learned, the more he felt that Judaism was really a very amazing, miraculous thing, which to a very big degree was not understandable. Not understandable, but here he was serving God. He was doing exactly the things that this missionary said he shouldn't do. Eventually, he left the world of being a stuntman, and he got some other job, whatever. Eventually, he became more and more, into learning Torah and mitzvahs and to being a follower of the Rebbe. And now, this story I heard, this was like, more than 20 years ago, I heard this story. Until he finally he got married. Now he's a family, lives somewhere in the north, in northern Israel. What does it comes to tell you? The story comes to tell you that God has interesting ways of bringing all the Jews back to being genuine Jews. Who knows what it could have been if this fellow would have, because if he got cured, so maybe he would have gone to the church. He didn't know. But because this man asked him questions that aroused his power of defiance, right? I'm not going to let this guy get away with these questions. I have to find answers. So because of that, it eventually brought him to be who he really is, a Jew. Have a good day with Mashiach now. See you all tomorrow, God willing, 8:15. Shalom u'bracha.